my name's Savannah Alalia and I'm here today with Anna Rodgers, also known as Miss Eco Glam, and I'm going to interview her today about something called Pure Body. So Anna, hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you today?
Pretty good, thank you. I must say I
Awesome.
feel pretty good every day lately.
Wow, okay. Well, what I'd like to do is just ask you a few questions. So maybe you can give us a bit of backstory or overview of um, who you are and how you've got where you are.
I guess to begin with, I had terrible health for 20 years really. I had severe depression and chronic fatigue that was very debilitating and basically made my life a living hell for a long time. And also the people that had to be close to me also copped a living hell. Um, Being so ill made me very angry and an unhappy person. So I was incredibly moody and just severely depressed. Trying to understand why I'd been so sick, knowing that people generally aren't born that way, just set me on a journey of trying to undo the damage, but also learning what it was that had caused all of this. And now I know it was because of a lot of toxins that were in my body.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your health problems were?
Well, for a long time, it was a sickness and a feeling that I didn't quite understand. I could list, a big page this long of symptoms that I had, ranging from constantly feeling ill in the stomach, headaches, lack of concentration, brain fog. My mood swings were just quite erratic. I look back at some of the things I used to do and I cringed thinking, oh my God, that was me. I really was an absolute nutcase. But yeah, my life was just not stable at all. It wasn't stable professionally. I couldn't hold down a job. I couldn't concentrate. It was very difficult for me to study during school. Constantly tired. Yeah, they're the main ones, but there were a lot of, little things like physically, I never really looked healthy. My eyes were always quite yellow.
So we're here talking today with Anna Rodgers, Miss Eco Glam. And Anna, you've been telling us a little bit about your story and the challenges that you've experienced with your health in the past. Can you tell me a little bit about what your turning point was and what helped to really take you forward with your return journey to health now?
The first thing was I visited a doctor who treats the Russian astronauts and with what they call mitochondrial medicine, which is actually all natural ingredients. But the second thing that I tried, which really was a huge energy boost and a big change, and so dramatic, was a zeolite product. And that was quite miraculous, actually, because within 2 weeks, I had a whole list of things that I'd suffered with for years that was just gone.
Wow. So basically, can you tell us a little bit about the positive effects that the zeolite product had on you?
Quite a few, actually. My eyes improved within that 2 week period. They went from being quite yellow and murky to white, but it was a huge difference for me to see that whiteness and almost like a sparkle coming back. And I've never had healthy looking eyes, even from a young age. They did not look very good. My heavy leg syndrome that I had, which was whenever I walked upstairs or walked up a hill, I felt like my legs weighed an absolute ton. That disappeared. The brain fog that I used to have every single day lifted. I was able to think quicker. My memory was better. I noticed little bumps on my arm that I used to have, which I think is a sign of a blocked liver. That
Mm-hmm.
disappeared as well. And then, yeah, my husband was the one that said, I know these zeolites work because Anna doesn't smell anymore. And that's when I was like, what? And
Wow.
discovered that I had that BO problem. Made sense to me why I did smell, because if my body was toxic, which I know it was, because my illness had broken my systems down that much that my liver was not processing what I was absorbing every day. So it meant that there were things stored in me that should have come out through my sweat glands and through the normal processes, but they weren't. So had no choice but to have a bit of a bad smell.
Great stuff. So Anna, I know a lot of your illness led you to research a lot into chemicals and toxins in our general environment. Do you have any comments, or can you share any information with us about what you've discovered?
Well, basically, it's quite alarming just how many chemicals there are everywhere. And it's not just what we breathe in, it's obviously stuff that's added to food or sprayed onto food throughout the growing process, beauty care products, even through our clothes. That's one thing that really shocked me was anything that's made with an unnatural dye or with a man-made fabric such as polyester. When it's on our skin, we absorb toxins through there as well. But obviously the main ones are what we breathe in every day, things like lead, because of all the petrol in the atmosphere. It's completely shocking. Once you look into a certain part of the environment in terms of toxins, it leads you to another area, and it's quite scary actually, knowing just how much we face every day. And unfortunately, even if you don't have an unhealthy lifestyle and you think you eat well and you make certain changes with your cosmetics, you still are absorbing things. Even I, who, people see me as probably a really clean person, I know as soon as I start taking Pure Body again, I notice a huge difference, because in that time of me not taking something that's a detoxifier, I'm building up things every day. And this is a thing that people don't realize. There's, I think, about 70,000 chemicals that scientists are aware of.
That's a
Which
lot.
is a scary, scary number. And, when we say the word toxin or chemical, we really need to scrap both of those words and replace it with poison, because that's what they are. And, I think in a way those names sugarcoat exactly what they're doing to us. The majority of them, and I'm talking, more than 50% of that 70,000 have never been tested for safety. We're all just living as human guinea pigs, waiting to see exactly the damage that all of these chemicals are going to cause us. I really think most of us already know, and that is, disease and early death. And it should not be that way.
And is there anywhere where people can get more information about the chemicals or toxins that they may be facing?
There's a website that's really good called the Environmental Working Group, www.ewg.org, and that has official sort of studies and articles and government bills that are being put through.
What would you recommend that people do to help them overcome these issues, in your opinion?
For years, I didn't think there was anything we could do. I'd learnt about juice fasts and water fasts and changing your diet, but I was also aware that some of these toxins are so dangerous. They settle in the brain and certain organs. And, I kind of looked at it logically and thought, well, how would doing a juice fast suck out these things like lead and mercury in that part of the body? I kind of just thought it wouldn't be enough to make you healthy or to stop you from having a much higher risk of getting a disease or cancer. Then I discovered chelation therapy would clean people out, but it would strip all of the valuable nutrients. So people would have problems with their bone density, and you'd have to kind of add in more nutrients to make sure that you weren't making the body suffer in other areas. And then a friend of mine on Facebook started talking about this zeolite product. And she said, Anna, you've got to try it. I know it's going to make you feel better. It worked for me. It's a miracle. And I'd heard of miracle products before, and they hadn't given me a miracle. So that word to me was a big turn-off. She literally told me for 2 years to try this product. And then one day I thought, oh gosh, I just should, see what she's talking about. So I tried some, and I was blown away. And the product is Pure Body Zeolite. And zeolite is a name of a volcanic ash supplement, so to speak, but Pure Body is the brand. And there are other zeolite products on the market, but unfortunately they haven't had the same very strict process. And from what I've discovered, a lot of the zeolites that are around are actually quite toxic when you take them, because they have not had the impurities removed themselves.
Okay,
so people have to be aware that Yeah, that not all zeolites are created equal, so to speak. But the Pure Body that I have been taking is absolutely incredible, and it's inexpensive. So that's why I want to tell everyone about it, because everyone needs it, and with this inexpensive price tag, it means that most of us can afford to have it, not just now and again, but fairly regularly.
So Anna, can you tell us a little bit about what zeolites are and how they work?
Well, how a zeolite works is pretty miraculous. Actually, underneath a microscope, looks like a cage or a bit of honeycomb, and it's super, super tiny. And the zeolite has a negative charge, and toxins that are in the body, in a beautiful way to describe it, have a positive charge. So, and as you know, positive and negative will attract each other like a magnet, and it will basically trap it in that cage, and then it will get out of your body through sweat and urine. And the Pure Body Zeolite is so small that it will actually get into your bloodstream, which means it will also get into your brain as well, because obviously blood pumps through your brain, and it will get into your organs, such as your liver and basically anywhere there's toxins, and then it will be excreted through sweat and urine.
Gosh, that's
Which
simple.
It's absolutely incredible.
What I love about zeolite is knowing how old it is and that it's been here for millions of years, because it comes from volcanic rock.
When the sea will hit the volcano, such has been here since the beginning of time. And to know that, you know, this miraculous product that really makes us so much healthier, it gives me chills knowing that it's been right there underneath our noses for such a long time. We usually think to make the body change in such a big way, you need something quite severe. But when I discovered the zeolite and read all the studies, it just was incredible to know that no, there is something that will work very quickly and will not suck out important minerals and vitamins. It doesn't do that. It leaves them in there where they belong. So it truly is incredible.
It really does sound incredible. So how can people get hold of these?
Well, we're going to leave some details underneath the video for people to click on and to have a further read. And if you like, you can also read some of the studies as well. The scientist that's involved with the Pure Body product, he's written a very extensive paper on what he's discovered. So that will be underneath here.
Thanks, Anna. So finally then, in your opinion, who needs this?
Well, to sum it up, everyone needs it, but for people to understand who, I guess, needs it most. So anyone that's got mercury filling, even if it's just one, definitely needs this. If you smoke,
You've got to be aware that these tiny little cigarettes don't just have tobacco in it. They don't just have one or two chemicals. They've got 4,000 different chemicals in there. They have things like lead and arsenic and formaldehyde and a whole bunch of other stuff that if people really knew was in a cigarette, they would not smoke them. But
people have had vaccinations, no matter what your beliefs are with vaccinations, they do have additives and chemicals in there that are really quite dangerous. And you know, the people that manufacture the vaccines will say that they need to have these chemicals in there to stabilize them and preserve the live virus. So yeah, you don't want to have certain things like that floating around in your body. I personally believe everyone really needs them.
In your opinion, what do you think of zeolites? Just if you were to sum it up in a sentence.
The one supplement everyone needs, because all the rest won't work if you've got heaps of toxins in your body.
Wow, thanks very much, Anna. Really enjoyed speaking to you.
Thank you.
And look forward to next time.
Awesome. Take care, everyone.
Bye.